story. First, I just got to ask you, Teak, I mean, tell you it's great. The last time your dad was on TV, he was sitting there alone, disconsolate, and worried beyond words. Now you're next to him. How does it feel?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And I am honestly just speechless. It's kind of surreal. I don't really believe that I'm back here. The last time I was in front of a TV camera was in prison when they tried to put me on national TV.
Well, look, I want to start at the beginning. There you were in Damascus. I've read some of the harrowing descriptions of when you were arrested. Tell us about it. What happened? What did they do to you? Where did they take you?
Well, after I was taken, I was put in a Suburban, and my head was put on the seat, and about 5 minutes later, zooming around Damascus, who knows where, we ended up at the prison, where I spent the next 2 weeks detained.
Describe the cell, what the conditions were, what they did to you. What was the sensibility? Tell us everything you can about that prison cell.
Okay, so the first 2 weeks, or the first week, I spent in, I think what was supposed to be an isolation cell. It was about 3 by 7 feet. But I think they had so many protesters and other people coming in at that point that I ended up spending it with one other person, a 19-year-old Syrian man. And I was questioned, or I guess interrogated, twice on the first day that I was there, and then once a week later, and then that was about it for leaving that individual cell. And then after a week, I was moved to another room, which was either 10 by 12 or about 12 by 12, with 22 other men of Syrian and Iraqi descent.
You're telling me you were in a room 12 feet by 12 feet with 20 people for over a week?
Yeah, I spent the second week in a room with ranging from 22, at most 22, and at least about 15 people.
Did they ever tell you what you were being charged with, what they suspected, why they had taken you? What was the reason? Did they let you call anybody? Tell us about this.
No, they originally picked me up because they saw me with my BlackBerry out about 100 yards from what ended up being a protest. I wasn't really sure what it was at that point. And then they kept me because my passport has a few stamps in it from other countries I've been to, like Yemen, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. And then they kept me because they thought I was a CIA agent or a journalist. I don't know which one they believed more or which one would have been worse. But they kept on telling me I was one of those two. And I honestly had no information other than that. They told me I had broken Syrian law. I didn't really have the guts to ask them which law I broke, and I don't think it really matters which law I broke. And that was literally about all the information I had. I didn't know if my dad knew. I didn't know if the U.S. government knew. I had no idea if anyone knew where I was.
I mean, just make it clear, you're a United States citizen. Did they let you call the consulate? Did they let you call anybody or reach out to anybody?
No, I actually found out later that that's a violation of the Geneva Convention, which Syria actually signed. You're supposed to be able to contact your consulate and actually have consular visits, neither of which was either offered to me or given to me when I asked.
Look, I know that you said you were interrogated. Were other people there in the prison being tortured? Did you hear any evidence that they were being beaten? What was the nature of the physical contact between the guards and the other prisoners?
Luckily, I was spared some of the physical violence, I think because of my American passport and also because they wanted to put me on TV at one point. But about 75% of the other prisoners I met were beaten pretty brutally, to the point were I caught a glimpse of blood-soaked rags once. One person's foot was beaten till their toenail fell off. There were some brutal interactions between the guards and the prisoners, including electrocution and who knows what else.
You know, Tom, I just got to say, you were acting, as a father who was desperate. You were reaching out to anybody you could. How did you pursue this, and how did you arrange to get Teak's release?
Well, we started not knowing what we were doing, and we were kind of making it up. The first things are the obvious things: contact embassy, contact your senators and congressmen. They give you a little bit of advice. Friends give you a little bit of advice, and very soon we had multiple avenues that we were pursuing obvious ones and things we never would have thought of. And I think in the end, it was all of those different things together, led by Senator Leahy and the ambassador to Syria.
The Syrian ambassador.
The Syrian ambassador, sorry. The Syrian ambassador, Imad Mustafa. They were the major players in this, but many, many other people gave us advice and made contacts and helped us with searching for and finally finding him.
Look, Tom, your actions were heroic. You were persistent beyond words. Teak, you have now seen the ugly underbelly of the Syrian regime, held for 15 days, no phone calls, prisoners around you being beaten. What is your sense now? You've been over there. Can that regime survive the current popular revolutions that are sweeping through Syria?
I was only there 10 days, but I can hazard a guess that the struggle of the Syrian people will be much harder and much more violent than what we've seen in other countries, just given the history of the regime and their strong-handed nature. I don't know if they'll be able to survive or not. I don't know enough about the regime, but I do know that they have a history of using violence, and they've showed that over the past couple of weeks, or as I've learned, they've showed that over the past couple of weeks. One thing that I would like to mention while I have the opportunity is the location of my prison, because the U.S. government never even knew where I was being held. It's located on Baghdad Street in Damascus, and it is rumored to be the counterterrorism prison. So if you do have family or friends that are being held there, at least you know where it might be.